Apply parking brake. Disconnect the negative battery cable. Prepare a protective surface to place all vehicle components on. Passenger side panel removal. Remove the 14mm seatbelt bolt. Using a pick tool, open the two plastic trim covers on the passenger rear side panel and remove the 10mm bolts. Disengage the rear cargo net hook to remove the number 2 Phillips screw. Remove the floor screw. Disengage and pull away the passenger rear side panel using a panel tool if necessary. Locate and disengage the two power cables connected to the side panel hardware and remove the panel from the vehicle. Remove the front passenger side threshold by pulling up in an upward motion. Remove the passenger side kick panel by unscrewing the black locking tab. Move the front passenger seat forward to gain better access to the front passenger seat belt bolt. Remove plastic trim cover and the 14mm bolt. Remove the passenger side seat belt bolt panel. Disengage the subwoofer connector. Using a 10mm socket, remove the 4 bolts holding the assembly in place. Disengage the 4 factory connectors from the factory amplifier. To remove the factory subassembly from the vehicle. Harness installation. Remove the factory 10mm ground bolt. Install the harness ground together with the factory ground and reinstall the 10mm bolt. Power wire will run to the front of the vehicle along with the gain control knob cable. Secure using cable ties as necessary. Amplifier installation. Remove the 3 10mm bolts securing the factory amplifier to the factory subassembly. Transfer factory amplifier to your provided OEM Audio Plus amplifier bracket and secure reusing the same 3 factory bolts. Plug the amplifier signal input connector into the designated receptacle on your OEM Audio Plus dedicated sub-amplifier. Connect the female input connection to the factory amplifier. The male inline input connector will remain unplugged for the moment. Connect the subwoofer umbilical cable to the amplifier output receptacle on the OEM Audio Plus sub-amplifier. This receptacle is labeled speaker. Connect the green power and ground connector to the designated receptacle. Connect the gain control cable to its designated location. Position and mount the amplifier assembly into the original factory location using the two factory 10mm bolts. Screw in the bolts in place by hand and secure it with a power drill. Return the 4 factory amplifier connections to the factory amplifier. Plug the factory gray 10-pin connector into the remaining male inline input connector. Note: for our new Series 2 JBL Enhancement, you will be plugging the blue 12-pin connection into the provided acoustic correction filter. The connectors are keyed, so you cannot plug any of the factory connectors into the wrong location. Reassemble the cargo panel in reverse order, ensuring that the sub-umbilical connector remains accessible. Remove the passenger side front threshold, lifting straight up and disengaging all factory clips. Remove the passenger side kick panel by unscrewing the black locking tab counterclockwise and gently pulling the panel away. Check for factory snaps that may not have come off with the panel. Reinsert to panel if applicable. Remove the passenger side rear threshold by pulling up in an upward motion. Loosen the seat belt trim weather stripping by hand carefully in an outward direction on both the front and rear passenger side thresholds. Remove the lower seat belt mounting bolt by hand or with a panel tool, and remove the lower seat belt mounting 14mm bolt. Disengage passenger side seat belt trim panel by pulling directly towards you from the top portion of the panel and working your way down, disengaging the clips from behind. Reinsert any snaps to the panel if applicable. You have now prepared the run for the quick sync wiring harness to connect to the amplifier, ground location, radio power wire, and sub-umbilicals. Unfasten gain control knob. The OEM Audio Plus gain control knob is designed to be mounted in the user's preferred mounting location. One of our suggestions is in the glove box, without any modification necessary. Connect the remote cable to the gain control knob. Use double-sided tape or Velcro, install into the roof of the glove compartment or along the side wall closest to the driver. Open and close glove compartment to ensure that the gain control knob is installed correctly and will not impede the operation of the glove box. Power wire installation. Under the hood on the passenger side of the vehicle, locate the top grommet on the passenger side of the firewall, directly to the left of the main factory wiring. Identify the unused nipple and slice the tip to create an opening for the power wire. For best results, insert a 10-inch wire, cable tie, or wire rod through the grommet from under the hood and attach power wire to the wire or cable tie from the kick panel area. Run the length of the wire through the grommet. Install supplied high-temperature corrugated split loom to cover the power wires and insulate against extreme temperatures under the hood. Run the loomed power wire neatly towards the battery, secure using cable ties as necessary. Connect the power wire to the fuse holder assembly, inserting the 12-gauge stripped power wire into the yellow butt connector and crimp. Apply heat to activate the solder and heat shrink insulator for the best connection possible. Remove the 12mm bolt from the top of the battery's positive terminal. Install the ring terminal of the fuse holder lead. Reinstall the 12mm bolt and tighten. Do not install fuse at this time. Back in the vehicle, reinstall the underglove box panel and the kick panel. Using a panel tool, remove the rear threshold panel, lifting straight up and disengaging all factory clips. Wipes. Prepare the cargo floor beneath the subwoofer mounting location. Connect the subwoofer umbilical cables to the OEM Audio Plus subwoofer system. Connectors are interchangeable and can be plugged in either order. Remove adhesive from provided industrial hook and loop strips on undercarriage of subwoofer assembly. Slide subwoofer system into the floor and panel cavity until it rests in place. Subwoofer will rest completely flush, corner mounted against the driver's side of the vehicle. Dual subwoofer installation. Using a panel tool, remove the rear threshold panel, lifting straight up and disengaging all factory clips. Connect the subwoofer umbilical cable that you ran from the front of the vehicle to the dual subwoofer umbilical. The dual sub-umbilical splits into two connectors, the driver's side and the passenger side. Feed the dual umbilical splitter going to the passenger side of the vehicle through the cargo net cavity until you are left with approximately 8 inches of slack on the driver's side. Set aside for the installation of the driver's side subwoofer system. Run the passenger side umbilical along the rear threshold. Having removed the passenger side cargo net assembly, lift the side panel to allow clearance and run the passenger side sub-umbilical under and up through the cargo net hook cavity. Pull the front speaker installation. Use the panel tool to remove the covers behind the interior door latch directly beneath the grab handle. In the top corner of the grab handle. Remove the 3 number 2 Phillips screws from these locations. Remove the A-pillar by pulling straight and away from the door. Use the panel tool or your hands to disengage the clips behind the door panel one at a time. Start at the bottom, then the sides, and finish at the top. Use gentle force to remove the door panel, pulling directly away from the door assembly. Disengage the light assembly from the panel. Use a panel tool to remove the assembly, then disengage the connector. Remove the door latch assembly from the door panel by unsnapping and lifting the door latch connectors. The connectors need to be reassembled in the same orientation, white on top, green on bottom. Disconnect the window door lock control connectors from the panel. Use a pick tool or precision screwdriver if needed to release the connector. Remove the 4 10mm bolts holding the factory speaker in place. Disconnect the factory speaker and install the OEM Audio Plus acoustic correction filter. This is an inline filter which plugs directly into the factory connector and then directly into the factory speaker. Reassemble door in reverse order, taking time to ensure all clips are engaged. Repeat process for the other side of the vehicle.